just kind of shook me. Couldn't believe it.
So yeah, go ahead, Shepard. What do you think of PlayStation Digital only?
I think it's just completely stupid.
Also, too, I want to share if people have comments or questions, um, especially questions that you would like the three of us to ask or answer. Excuse me. We will answer them for you in the next podcast. So I'll take those questions with me. Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage. I got Shepard and Q with me this week. I have to admit, I don't know if I'm even going to be able to finish podcast 4. So if you guys want to do a lightning round, if we have time, we can run through a few of those questions real quick since we're all here. But like, I've done roughly 10 hours of editing so far, and I'm only like 40 minutes in. So I still have another 4 hours to go through, and it's just taken way too long. I'm not going to be able to get through it. So I apologize for that. So from here on out, we'll just work on doing where who can make it to the podcast, and that will be that. But I'll still try everything I can to make sure we're all here, because I think it's best when we are. So thank you guys for showing up today. Um, let's see. Just main questions today from me is all digital for PlayStation, and then the Xbox layoffs and the 5 studios they're letting be sold off or go independent, and kind of what that just looks like for Xbox. So where do we want to start first?
Let's start with PlayStation.
Oh, go ahead, Q. You're ready. I can tell.
Well, I mean, it's just I think the whole world is a little shocked that PlayStation made that decision to take physicals off, especially I think they're the first ones to do it. Nintendo still has its cards, and then Xbox hasn't, to my best of my knowledge, announced any plans to get rid of physicals. So
Yeah, at least not yet.
it just kind of shook me. Couldn't believe it. But yeah, I'm not too excited about it. Like I said earlier, I think they'll have a complete monopolization over their IPs, and I think uh, I think there'll be a lot less deals to be had on uh, on the games. So yeah, not too excited about it.
Yeah, just real quick, I'll clarify. Nintendo first parties so far, except for Pocopia, actually has the data on the cartridge, and only a few games that are third party, like Cyberpunk 2077, actually have the data on the cartridge. Everything else is maybe Street Fighter 2 as well, but pretty much everything else has the the key card, where you just have enough on the cartridge itself to get you a license, to get you to the store, to be able to download the game files after that. And that's why the bricking of the Switch 2 is such a big deal, is because when they Nintendo decides to brick your Switch 2, then you can't access the internet. So you lose the majority of your ability to really like download the games out of their entire library. It's only the ones that actually have all of the stuff on the cartridge that you can get, which is of course their games. And so yeah, there's definitely some, in my opinion, market manipulation there, and also taking advantage of not having for the rest of the games the files on the cartridge. Xbox does not make physicals for every single game. Like Avowed is a good example that never had a physical release, but the majority do. The thing is that in order to find them, you have to usually pre-order through like Best Buy, Amazon, or GameStop or something, and then go pick it up, and then you can actually have your physical disc. So that's what I did with Halo Campaign Evolved Remake. That's coming out later this month. So yeah, go ahead, Shepard. What do you think of PlayStation Digital only?
I think it's just completely stupid. I mean, just taking away
I agree.
taking away the options. That's the thing is like people be able to go buy a physical game cheaper or gift that physical copy to a child for Christmas. Like that's the thing we got to grow up with is be able to get the games physically and actually be able to have something holding in your hand other than just a empty case with a digital code. Like it's just I don't really get the point of it. Like how much money they're really going to be saving.
Generally, it's like maybe 5% on a disc, or a little bit less. Depends whatever the deal is that they work out. And but it's not like a ton of money. It's not like selling your game on Steam or some other third-party platform, right? Where that's like usually 30%. But like if it's an extra 3 or 5%, that's still profit that gets taken from you. It's why a lot of indies actually don't do it, because they don't really have the funds to allocate for that. Because they're not expecting a lot of sales anyway. But I think most of us accept that and understand that. When you have a multi-billion-dollar company, by the way, Sony made $80 billion last year. You'd think that they could afford a little bit, and that's something too that I hate. Whether it's Steam, Xbox, or Epic Games, or PlayStation, or Nintendo, is like these are multi-billion-dollar companies that they make every year, and while their profits generally across the board for gaming haven't necessarily been very good, their revenues have still been high and been keeping up with inflation to a degree, and so they're working on getting their profit back. That's why they're cutting back, canceling games, laying off people, closing studios, that kind of thing. But still, yeah, it's frustrating, and I think the biggest issue with people is it's not that digital exists or that some games are just all digital. It's just the option for the general industry for players is that digital is the only way to go now, and that puts more control for the company and not for the player. It also destroys the used market because there is no more used market. So like GameStop is dead along with all of the other companies out there unless you're going full retro, though a lot of them are switching over, including GameStop switching over to like cards like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering, Around the Fire, and all those kind of card games. And there's definitely money in it, but it's it's pretty frustrating. And the problem that we're experiencing going forward is that we're just losing more and more control, and it doesn't feel good. And at least with Steam, you have the ability to back up your games if you want as physical copies. And at least with GOG, they actually have a list of digital rights management free games where you get even the launcher included with your purchase. So you don't need the server, you don't need the online, you don't get the DRM checks. You can just literally launch the game right there. And I own a few of them, like the old Dino Crisis games and the old Mist and Riven games, like puzzle games, or even like Command & Conquer Red Alert. So yeah, I think too it's just kind of a bummer, and it makes me think too of GTA 6. We were promised by Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two, that in February and in May of this year, that there would be a physical disc at launch, and that doesn't seem to be the case. I hope there will be a physical disc at some point, but that may not be. I don't know. That may not be the case. That's not necessarily confirmed yet, that there's even going to be a physical copy for those that would like one. And while younger folks maybe don't care as much, again, just like what they said, is like there's something not right about further monopolizing a company's control. And also there's something special about going to the store and doing the midnight releases and opening up something on Christmas. And like, when you have a personal attachment to a product or to a brand, that makes you want to keep spending. But if we're removing both of those, well, then people become more apathetic about the product. And I don't think that's better for the future of PlayStation or anybody. Because if people really thought, like, if Steam ever actually just started removing games or like banning people or bricking their stuff, do you ever think people would really keep buying Steam again, or would they go to some other PC store and start buying over there? Of
Go
course,
wherever they're
Steam.
treated the best.
Yeah, that's right, and that's why a lot of players too, they're switching over to Steam from console in the first place. That's why I think console is ultimately dying. Is because the younger gens are switching over, just like Q here. So, and I know Shepard and I both would if we had the money and the space. For me, it's mostly space, but yeah, it's expensive too, especially now. So maybe another 10 years down the road, I'll get my own PC and have
I
my
mean,
own
I have a
setup. But
PC.
oh yeah, okay, I keep forgetting. I have a laptop, but that's not really like a PC. I use it more for editing than anything else.
Yeah, I got a laptop for tuning my car,
There
or
you
like
go.
doing mods for my Xbox 360. But then my actual like desktop, I just use that for Steam for Black Ops 3 custom workshop maps. Play with my
Mhm.
friends.
So yeah, I think the apathy too, if they go forward on this, is going to set in, and it doesn't look like Sony wants to acknowledge it. They haven't acknowledged it yet. They keep putting out other stuff instead, like their gamepad controller for fighting games, like side scroller fighters, or talking about something else, or talking about their new Spider-Man movie. And the comments are just lit up with like, you know, no disc, no buy, and all of that kind of stuff. And I still think um, the majority of gamers on any platform are still generally more casual, and maybe aren't like super up to date on all of this type of stuff. But there is also demand growing among our generations, millennials and Gen Zers, where they are actually buying the physical stuff, whether it's uh, cassettes, DVDs, CDs, Blu-rays, vinyl, whatever. They're actually buying physical media again. And one company said they've seen a 10,000% increase in just the last few years, which is really, uh, that's really
Same.
insane. Yeah, when you think of that. Uh, so yeah, it's just interesting. It's like if they really want to push through with this, and they don't think people will quit, they don't think enough people will move on to make a difference. I will throw up what the current thing is for the petition for signatures. We're probably around 300,000 right now, but of course that's not enough people. You'd have to have millions that would have to say, yeah, we're just going to boycott. And everyone can have their own way to boycott, whether that's no longer buying deluxe edition of games, not buying digital anymore unless it's on sale, or just not buying the PlayStation 6 because they will continue to make PlayStation 5 games, I think, for quite a while. But if they go digitally, would they have to? The other thing I want to add is Sony is being sued in 5 different countries right now for their digital manipulation of their digital market because they don't have digital redemption cards in retailers. They took those away, and now they're being sued for it for their monopolization. So the UK, they're looking at $2 billion. United States was a slap on the wrist, but they have to pay a little bit more, but it was still a slap on the wrist. They're also looking at Netherlands, Singapore, and Portugal. And any other country could still sue for past practice wherever PlayStation is. So as an option for gamers, so it could get really expensive for Sony, and I think that's partly why they're doing this. The only way you could see that they were manipulating in the first place is what the price was of a physical, and what the price was on the store for digital. And they're like, "Hey, you're you're massively manipulating stuff here." Um, and yeah, that's illegal. So looks like Brazil is actually going to get into it too. I just remembered that. So that'd be 6. What do you guys think? Any other comments?
No, the whole thing is just a real slap in the face to their loyal customers.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I see a lot of streamers or content creators on YouTube. They have their physical collection in the background, and they're like, "All hail PlayStation," or "All hail Xbox," or Nintendo, or whichever one it is, right? And that's kind of been one of the main staples. Uh, Even though it hasn't been talked about very much, that's been a main staple for consoles. Is like you still own something physically there, and you have an emotional attachment. But if you strip that away, I think the apathy will set in, or people will just move over to PC.
Yeah,
I
I
hope
definitely
so.
think so.
I hope so too, because while I've been talking about it for I don't know a couple of years now that I think console is dying, I think people can generally start kind of seeing that now. Is like if you remove the benefits out of console, what's the point? If it's $1,000 plus, if you don't have physical anymore or you don't have options, there's more monopolization and just trying to get as much money as you can out of the player base. Um, like raising the prices, raising the services, raising the accessories, the consoles, and other hardware. Yeah, just like I think it was Shepard. You're going to go where you're treated best, and that's not
Yeah,
console right now.
nope, unfortunately.
And unfortunately, it hasn't been for a while. The thing is just that console's been cheaper, but they're kind of roughly close to kind of the same price, which is crazy. Like someone did a build of a PlayStation 5 Pro last year, and they basically spent roughly around the same amount of money building the thing. It wasn't a pre-build, but they were building the thing, and they're like, yeah, basically we spent the same amount of money to build a PlayStation 5 Pro, yeah, as a PC. And then you have all of the storefronts on PC, so they're holding each other accountable. Steam doesn't want to give up any of their publishing percentage, and yeah, I just think the younger generations are figuring it out. I think the last ones to figure it out will either be Gen X or some of the older millennials, because they've been growing up with console for so long. Alrighty, the next thing would be Xbox layoffs. So they had this year we're going to have 3,200 layoffs. There's also going to be another 1,600 throughout other divisions of Microsoft. And all of these layoffs are roughly going to take place at the same time. During the announcement, 1,600 were actually laid off the day of at Xbox Studios. 5 studios were going to be canned or had to go independent, so Microsoft is nice in a way, and they're giving them time to actually go independent and get funding and buy themselves out, basically. Toys for Bob already did that. They're making the next Spyro game. They did that a couple of years ago. And I think there's been a couple of other smaller studios, too, that used to work under the Activision umbrella that have also bought themselves out and gone independent. Um, but yeah, these 5 studios are Compulsion, Ninja Theory, Double Fine. Uh, oh, freak me. Anyway, I'll throw them up on the screen. But yeah, Arcane Lion, which is in France. Excuse me. And then yeah, I'm forgetting the other one. But yeah, anyway, they're all of them put together about 360 employees, and being allowed to go independent, that's great. That would be a total of 7 so far that have been allowed to go independent or be bought by some other publisher. I wish PlayStation would do that. Pretty much everyone they've had, they've just basically canned, which is frustrating. But yeah, basically they didn't make enough with the games that they've been making in the 2020s, and so yeah, they're being let go. This is, of course, not the first set either that we've had. But yeah, this is part of the quote reset for Xbox under Asha Sharma. And I think it's a bummer. I wouldn't want to lose my job right now. But is the reset going to work? We have exclusives coming back, which applies more pressure for sales and to be profitable, like Gears of War E-Day and Clockwork Revolution. Are they going to be able to get the sales they need for games that cost hundreds of millions? I'm not sure. So we'll start with you on this one, Shepard. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not really sure if they're really going to be able to pull it off with it because it's got it's got hype, but at the same time, I don't really feel like the younger generation grew up playing Gears of War. Is more like us older guys playing that growing up. So it'd be
Hmm.
interesting to see how much, how many copies Gears of War E-Day actually sells. I'm also honestly curious if they're gonna do like a last minute special edition console bundle or something, or like a special edition console, like a themed console.
Oh yeah, they have done that in the past with Gears.
Yeah, like the Gears of War. They did one for 4, 5, 3, pretty much all of them, I think.
Yeah, they've done quite a few. They did have a remaster of Gears of War 1, and that had some sales, but not as many as they were hoping. So I think you're right. That does kind of play into will enough people actually buy it? Because we haven't had a Gears of War game for a long time. The IP has kind
Yeah,
of been stagnant for too long, I think, and I don't know. It at roughly $300 or $400 million to make E-Day, can they make that money back? And I want to put this out here too. id Software was one of the studios that is still under the Xbox umbrella, but they had a lot of layoffs. Um, but their studio, and some people were saying that the studio is now too small to be able to make a video game. But id Software put something out themselves and said, look, we are back to the size of when we made Doom Eternal back in 2016, and yes, we can still make video games. And I think some people are forgetting that you don't need hundreds of devs or even 1,000 devs to make a video game. And I think that's where some of the bloat comes from, is that there's just so many making a game when you really only need 50 or 100. I mean, Expedition 33 was 34 devs, and Skyrim was about 100. So you don't need massive amounts to actually make a video game. What do you think, Q?
About the layoffs?
Yeah, the Xbox layoffs.
Well, layoffs are never good, but it's just part of the economy, you know. It's been
Yeah,
happening for what? Few
since
hundred years now.
2022. Yeah, I know, right? You want to go back to like the Roman Empire. You know, it's
Yes.
just what happens.
It-
And
no,
yeah, the Roman
it,
Empire had inflation too, you know?
I don't know too much about them, but just from listening to you, it sounds like they're at least going about it as good as they can without just leaving the studios high and dry. So that's pretty nice.
I think something that's interesting too is um, I think this shows that with a new CEO, she's able to see that the whole push for Game Pass didn't really work. And I think that is um, out there in the open now. Because a lot of these studios that they bought, the idea was to make content for Game Pass to help bring more pull to Game Pass to up the subscribers, and that hasn't really been happening. And so you can only drag non-profitable studios for so long until you have to cut them. So what do you guys think?
yeah. I feel like the Game Pass, like it was definitely a good idea, but the just in the long run, it kind of didn't work out so well as they thought or planned. Didn't really make them as much as they thought.
Yeah, Satya Nadella, he even had a bonus tied to how many subscribers they would get
Wow.
within a certain time period. And when they didn't hit that, Xbox had layoffs and
Jeez.
multiple
Just
times, and then they quit talking about their subscription numbers. So we haven't had subscription numbers, I think, since 2023.
dang.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's like, and I think Game Pass is a good option. Of course, I wouldn't want it to be the only option, just like we were talking about with PlayStation with digital only. I think platforms need to have options with whatever fits everybody's specific, unique circumstances and how much money they can spend. But what I don't want to see is like only where you have to buy every single game in order to play it, because then you're not really going to get that much exposure, especially with a $70 game or a $100 game or whatever. And the other thing I don't want is just Game Pass or just PlayStation Plus. I want there to be both,
Balance.
and as many options as there can be, because that gives liberty to the player, right? Because
Yeah.
they get to choose what's best for them at the time, and everybody appreciates. So if you, I mean, it's not like you can make everybody happy all the time, but providing options helps do that. It's still imperfect, right? But it's probably the best solution in an imperfect world, and that's why PC is so liked by so many people. Is while it is digital only, there's a lot of utility and options among all of the users, and they can decide what's best for them at the time. And then the hardware doesn't matter. The GPU doesn't matter. The type of CPU and how much RAM you got and all of that. I mean, if you can run Resident Evil Requiem on a 1660, holy frick. Like, that's amazing, right? And the devs know that too, that the majority of the players are either running a 3060 or lower, and they're not going to cut that out because, again, they want the sales. And so, yeah, I think that's also partly why, too, the console model is dying, is because it's getting too expensive to keep ramping up the graphical ability or computational ability of the hardware, and especially now with everything that's been going on in the 2020s, from supply chain issues to now the AI and war in Iran and everything else in between, it's just screwing with stuff. And so you have a Steam machine that's 1,050. You have a PlayStation 5, which is 650. A Pro that's 900. You have an Xbox that's now 800 bucks, and a Series S that's 500, which I still think. And you have a Switch 2 that's 500 now, starting in September 1st. The price increases for Xbox are happening in August. So there's some time left if people still want to get it for 650.
Oh, that's right.
And then there's the top of the line 5090, which is anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000. Pay up, simps. I mean, there's just a point where it's like you just can't afford it anymore. And we've talked about this at nauseum, and we will continue
you want to eat
through
this month, or do you want to play the new Xbox this month?
We'll continue to talk about this through 2040. So I hope people listening to the podcast are excited for that. But yeah, you have to factor in the biggest factor for people, which is cost. And if they just can't afford it, they're not going to pay. So I don't think. I think that's also part of kind of like a oh no for PlayStation users right now, that if there's digital only, well, then they can just make the price whatever they want it to be, and there's just not anything anyone can do about it. But if they did do it that way,
on, different like if they're doing exclusives, then yeah, you're really screwed, because you can't just go on PC and be like, oh, well, let's get on PC. Like, nope.
And PC's the biggest buyer out of anybody. I mean, they buy the most Xbox games, the most PlayStation games. They emulate Nintendo the most.
Yep.
On down the line. And the thing, too, is we used to have 12 console companies, but a lot of them failed in the 90s and early 2000s. Because, again, there wasn't enough money to support them all. And we're kind of hitting this again, where there's 3 console companies, but there's not enough to support them all in the games that they make. And if, too, you're exclusives, whether Xbox, Nintendo, or PlayStation, take 5 to 8 years to make, that's just too freaking long.
Yeah.
Because that's only a few games every generation. And that's kind of crappy.
Yeah, compared to what we used to have.
Yeah. Yeah, when we moved from 1080p to 4K, it really just screwed a lot of stuff, in my opinion. And then we added ray tracing on top of that. And so it takes a lot. Even Nintendo said, now that they're adding ray tracing and 4K, that it's going to take longer to make their games. So they're relying on third-party sales, which are not happening, by the way, to actually continue to make profit every year. So any other thoughts, gents? Now this might be the shortest on record. 31 minutes.
I've done my my research on Xbox.
Well, there's always another podcast. Number 6 will come at some point. Probably next month. Which is alright. I can't keep track of everything either. I guess we could talk about GTA 6 being diskless.
Or we could talk about the Black Ops 1 and 2 ports too.
Oh, yes! Can we please talk about that, gents?
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
I would
kind
love,
of
I'd
disappointing.
love to tear into that. Yeah! So I'll let you guys go first. Go for it. Q, we'll start with you on this one.
I just wanted one thing. Cross-platform.
Yep.
It could be the same graphics, I don't care. Not even a remaster. Give me cross-platform. And I would have been happy. It would have, because I already have it on PC. So it would have been kind of sweet. And I don't know if you guys know, but for the longest time, the Black Ops servers on PC are full of hackers. They're kind of unsecure.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
And I don't believe anything has changed with that.
No, it hasn't.
Nope, we're
The
still
only way to
all
kind
on
of
the same.
ensure yourself is make your own server and dictate who comes in and out.
So, yeah, not the not the coolest thing they've done. No, I know a few people who've bought it, and they're only selling the PlayStation guy. I don't know.
Yeah, PlayStation 4 and 5.
All they did was make a port over to PlayStation and did nothing. It's gonna
Yeah.
die in a month. People are gonna get bored with it. If they would have done cross-platform and secured the servers, I think that would
Or
have been
even
a
just
better
let
deal.
people host their own server.
It was a cash grab. That's all it
It could have
was.
been something.
40
Yeah.
bucks too.
$70
Actually,
for a 13-year-old game with all the DLCs instead of making it free.
Yeah, $70. Yeah, Q,
really?
yeah. Shepard, go ahead and have your turn. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's like I know they did pretty much stick to the original, but it's just like the minor things that they did get rid of kind of really irk me. Like they're too lazy to fix the theater mode mods and glitches and hacks, so they just no, we're not gonna put it back. And then the same thing with the player count. Oh, we don't want anybody to know the real truth about what people are actually playing, because if we have our shareholders find out the player count for Black Ops 1 and 2 on just PlayStation 4 and 5 alone, then we're screwed because of BO7 and anything else we've made in the last 5-6 years. It's like, I really feel like if they would have made the price what the discount price is right now for the PlayStation Plus, they should have just made that the default price. Or
Yeah, $30.
instead, or if they wanted to make it $40 for each of them, include the DLC or the season pass. Don't even charge extra. And then also,
Yeah.
like Hugh was saying, like they really like that's the big thing that I'd love is even if they said no PC, just Xbox and PlayStation
Well, easy
cross-platform,
now.
that would be so nice because then people would actually be able to play with the other console and not have to, rank their weapons up again and start from scratch.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say though, like the one that has been the stickler on cross-platform has been PlayStation.
Yep.
So
I definitely
it
could
could be
see
an
that.
Activision
I
problem,
think
but
they got
my
over it.
money would be on PlayStation.
That was the case in the beginning, but I honestly think think that they no longer care.
Is that why their first parties are going to be exclusive?
Well, I think I think that's a separate issue. I don't.
I'm just being
I,
devil's advocate while I have the Xbox logo on my shirt. We have our biases here, folks. It's okay, and which is why I like having these other guys because I think we jive great together. I love it. I really love it. But yeah, leave it down in the comments. I mean, what do you guys think about anything we've talked about so far? I'll talk about the ports. I pulled up PlayStation Time Tracker, and just to show you the demand. Of course, this is not everybody. You have to vote, or you have to like add the tracker to your friends list. So it's a volunteer only process. But every couple of months, there's a massive amount of there's more people added to the pool every time, and yeah, they have a 30-day, 7-day, and 24 hours. So you can kind of see the trends or what's happening with games and who's playing what and how long and how many players and all that stuff out of the sample size. But right now, Black Ops 2 is number 14 in just 3 days. Out of 30 days. So they still have 27, 26 days left, and they're number 14 in hours played. There are so many people playing these games, even though they're ports, even though they still have bugs. I guess Black Ops 1 bugs are actually fairly bad and kind of like break snipers and stuff. But yeah, there is such a demand for Activision to make arcade shooters again, that people are willing to buy junk, and they know it's junk, for $70. And I mean, there are sales right now, but like this should be a wake-up call, I think, for Activision of like how they should be making their games going forward, because that's crazy. Buggy ported games from like 15-ish years ago, that's insane, and people are still buying them. Yeah, no improvements, nothing. I think too it shows that like they could remaster and integrate some of the live service battle pass business that they have and port over or like remake the older games or remaster the older games. I think the movement
MW3 remaster
or anything or World at War anything and include the zombie maps in that. And include all of the DLC. Again, they need to make a good deal here, but the demand is there. And they could also give a break for the other studios trying to make a game and put out a game every year. They could instead put out a main game every other year and give some more time for them to work on stuff and actually do something unique and work out some of the bugs and also work on their servers. They're working on their servers would be nice. I think too. I'm kind of shocked that it's not cross-platform. I think that would have been fairly easy to do because you can play the Black Ops 1 and 2 games backwards compatible on Xbox. They're available. You can just buy them. But it is definitely a cash grab though. Because yeah, even the Black Ops 1 and 2 bundle I think is cheaper than just one of the games.
Yeah.
For PlayStation 3. So yeah, just to port over, it's just scummy. But yeah, there is definite demand. So at the rate Black Ops 2 is going, it will beat the number 1 game, which is Roblox, at the end of the month. There's so many players and so many hours being played. I think it's kind of insane. But yeah, I agree with Q that it's going to peter out. There's not going to be anything unique. It's going to be reliving the memory instead of actually playing the game, and people are going to quit. And there's the issues with bugs as well, and server issues. And so people are not as patient as they used to be. You know, they want things to work. I can attest to that. Yeah, people want things to work out of the box because life is hard enough now. Everybody's feeling that. And so it just needs to work. And I've had some friends that have been like, well, yeah, it's okay if it's buggy or they'll fix it. But, you know, they've been living life a little bit more the last 5 years. And they're just like, gosh, I just want it to work out of the box. Like they're just frustrated. And I'm like, welcome to the club, baby. Because, yeah, we just need stuff to work. especially when we're paying for a premium product or for like a remaster or a port or whatever. Um, and cash grabs. Like we ultimately know what stuff is, but yeah, there could be more effort put in always
Oh
to
yeah.
actually make a better product and put the player first. Like so many companies don't. They put themselves first over the player. And that's why we're seeing the games industry the way it is today. Is
That's why they're
people will
going for an
tolerate a
all
certain
digital.
level. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. People will tolerate a certain level and eventually they'll just be done. And the problem too is that if a lot of millennials and Gen Zers quit kind of playing games or keeping up with gaming, that's going to be a good chunk of money disappearing because the younger gens don't have money. They're walking into a crapshoot for job market and everything else, and rent and etc. And then too, also the future generations, they're smaller. I mean, just the gap between Gen Z and Gen Alpha is 20 million kids just in the United States. Um, and the United States is the biggest buyer of gaming stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't look good. I think it would behoove these companies to actually put the player first. Any other thoughts, guys?
Uh, well, is there anything anyone's done that we're happy about?
I think it's nice that I was doing a little more research on GTA 6. There are still going to be plenty of shops for customization from what it looks like. I will let you know when. So we're Q here. We'll both let you know how the game is after we've played it a bit. We'll do like an initial look kind of thing. If you'd like to be a part of that for an actual like initial look review, and then we can do a final review if you'd like after we've both like finished the campaign or whatever. But we'll talk about it on the future podcast too, when we get there at the end of the year. Uh, but I think it is nice that for only $20, they're adding all of this extra stuff. So $20 doesn't even really buy a battle pass anymore. And while I don't like the principle still, I'm thankful at how quote cheap it is compared to other big third-party games and big publishers. They could have charged a heck of a lot more because there are skins in some games that are hundreds of dollars. There's bundles in some games that are thousands of dollars, like Star Citizen. There are some games that have double battle pass and triple battle pass and 6 different
Oh, like the black cell,
currencies.
the different
Oh,
tier battle
frick.
pass is despicable. It's like it's bad enough you're putting a battle pass, but oh, we're gonna make more and more and more.
Yeah,
Like
Overwatch
it
did
never
that, and
ends.
so did Battlefield 6.
Call of Duty with their black cell,
Yep, and there's
just
that too. And yeah, they brought it back.
like
So it is
$30
nice.
per season. That's ridiculous. There's
And
like
people are
6 or
buying.
how many seasons? Yeah, but yet they won't even pay the $15 for a quality DLC back in the day because it's
Yeah.
too much.
Well,
Well,
they're
you
play
used to
play
be
to
able to
win.
get. Yeah, there's that too. The
That yep.
pay to win's getting horrible. Like we're starting to see that in these single player games. Even what's on my screen right now, Assassin's Creed Black Flag original from what 2013 or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any of the pay to win stuff in it, but the resynced version does. That just came out, the remake. You can buy different cannons, you can buy different weapons, and you can purchase that stuff and make it easier. Someone said in a video, which I agree with, is the journalism package, so that they can actually get through the game. And so, but yeah, it's just like that's just kind of scummy. Of course, we don't have to pay for it if we don't want to, but I think it just kind of mars the experience because not everyone's on the same playing field. It's the same with Dragon's Dogma 2. It was the same with Assassin's Creed Shadows with all the experience boosts and other stuff you could buy. And if it's cosmetic, whatever,
Yeah,
but
skins.
it's like if we're now getting to a point where we're designing the game to be a little more difficult than maybe it would have been, and now we're selling you the solution, that just seems really shitty.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on.
That's how I feel.
And And it's really disgusting. And now that it's getting into single player stuff, that's even worse. Because again, it just shows that $70 is not enough for them. It's got to be more. Yeah. So
It's
all
never
things
enough.
considered, yeah, all things considered, it is nice that GTA extras are only $20. I just hope that the multiplayer stays free.
For the
But
base
we'll
launch,
see.
at least. We'll see a week after how many
Yeah, what else
what
is
the
out there?
GTA Plus is going to do. I'm wondering if GTA Plus is going to have any effect for the GTA 6 solo campaign, or if it's just going to be a multiplayer thing again.
I'm curious about that too. Also, I wanted to put this out there. I don't
Or
know if I
shark
did in the
cards.
last one. But like GTA Plus, if you pre-order, you get an extra like free month of GTA Plus. The
I was
problem
noticing
is that GTA Plus, if you if you activate that, the default is to buy it every month. So that's scummy. So if you don't want to pay for it every month, make sure you go through their thing and deactivate GTA Plus after your free month. Otherwise,
Oh,
you're
they're
just going to
doing
keep
the
paying
whole
for it.
TV streaming thing.
Yeah. So yeah, make sure you deactivate
Here's your free
that.
trial, and then you forget
Wink,
to
Yeah.
cancel
wink. Hope you forget.
it. Yeah.
Because yeah, that's an extra well, and that's if they keep the price the same, but $120 from every player that does that every year. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wow, I'm getting shark cards for free. That's amazing.
Ain't nothing free
Yeah.
in
And
this
then you
universe.
download Rocket Money. You're like, oh man.
hmm Yeah, if they want to sponsor, I'll take $1,000. That'd be great. I actually like Rocket Money. I really do. And if I ever take sponsorships, it's only going to be of products and services that I actually like and use. So,
Be well in
but yeah, free promo for this one is yeah, Rocket Money is pretty cool. Now you do have to give some of your personal information. So I do worry about like hacks and that kind of stuff in the future.
sharing.
Because it's not impossible. There's that too. But I believe they say they don't. But of course, that could change at any time. Because that's just what companies do. But yeah, Rocket Money is actually cool. So you don't have to give them everything, but they will even advocate for you to. Yeah, they'll cancel stuff for you, so you don't have to go through the whole process, and then they'll advocate for you too if you want a cheaper price. So I do that with my Xfinity internet all the time. When it goes up, I'll be like, "Hey, can you get it cheaper?" And they'll advocate for it, and they get a piece of that, and then I get to get the rest of the savings. So that's really cool. Like I really like that about them.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, and you get to set how much you give them. Of course, their default is like 50%, but you can work it down to 30% if you want. You just move the slider. They might eventually get rid of that at some point, but yeah, it is actually kind of a cool service, and it's free. And yeah, their business model works for them, and as long as it keeps working for them, they'll keep doing the service. So yeah, that's neat. I actually like Rocket Money. It's pretty cool. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Because yeah, what are we at here now? Also, too, I want to share if people have comments or questions, especially questions that you would like the three of us to ask or answer. Excuse me. We will answer them for you in the next podcast. So I'll take those questions with me.
What I would do for a Modern Warfare 3 OG remake, though, with 4-player survival, having it all fully built, or like what me and my buddy were talking about, a full-on, if they made like a full-on game for just survival, like you could do every map for any
That'd
COD,
be cool.
but you could choose to do it with survival or zombies.
Man, why don't they? Oh my word! Do you know how amazing that sounds? I would
I
pay for
know.
that.
Like,
I
imagine
would pay
playing
for that.
Nuketown on survival. Like, what would you do with the jugs? How are you going to deal with the jugs in an attack helicopter?
Just run a circle 8 the whole time. I think that's the only way you could do it.
Camp in the house and the upstairs the C4.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that's the thing I do love about the PC.
that'd be awesome.
Why wish I was a little bit more smarter, because if I could figure out how to get like those mods or like even make my own and do all the stuff that I've talked about with my friends, like that'd be amazing. I mean, with the
Yeah, that'd be a
AI
really cool one.
being a big thing nowadays, you would think it wouldn't be too hard to figure it out too, but
Yeah, you could have some AI run the code for you,
oh
and
yeah,
then you can fix the mistakes. It'd save you time. I mean, my
yeah,
brother does that right now. What takes him a month is done in a week.
damn.
Yeah, he does that for a telecommunications company. They think he's God because he gets it done so fast. Just some questions from last podcast that I think are pertinent. Just just the Bungie and everything being bet on Marathon. They already have announced their layoffs. Those are happening this month officially, where they're basically cutting half of the studio. So they're going about from 850 to 400 devs at Bungie, and this will be their fourth round of layoffs. And then even just checking numbers today, yeah, they're struggling to get 7,000 concurrents on SteamDB, which again is 70% of their player base roughly. So yeah, almost nobody's playing the game. Everything they've tried so far just hasn't worked to get players in. And then what happens when gaming costs too much for the casuals? Do you think they'll tap out? What do you guys think? Any comments on Marathon or just gaming getting too expensive, becoming a premium product?
I think people will definitely quit purchasing it. Well, and they got years. They're just now killing off the PS4 and the Xbox One
Yeah,
by shutting down support for them.
Or like the 360 store, PlayStation 3 store, and PS Vita. You know, those are shut down now. Or going to be very shortly. So then you can emulate everything. At least for those ones. So yeah, that's coming.
Hey, if you can't own anything, then emulate stuff.
That's right.
If
Yep,
buying
exactly.
isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing.
Stealing.
My channel's banned now. Thanks,
Yeah,
kid.
I was-
You might have to edit that out.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just like a future car, for example. I mean, the digital rights management in cars and subscription services in cars now, even just basic
man,
cars
that's so
like Toyota and
sickening.
Honda and GMC, and it's really horrible. And so it's like I will be at a point where I will buy a brand new car, or almost brand new, and I will take it to a shop that's willing to do the work, and they will literally tear it down to the frame and yank all of the electronics out of it, and we're scrapping the engine, and we're scrapping the transmission, and then they're going to rebuild it as a custom. Excuse me, they'll rebuild it as a custom from the ground up.
We're
And
going
then
Flintstone power.
all of that electric garbage is going to be out of my car, and all of the digital rights management and all of that. And if we got to
go
use some
Flintstone
older
power.
engines, yeah, I mean it's getting stupid. Because yeah, I have no problem paying $20,000 for putting in some older stuff that is easy to maintain and run. Because yeah, I don't like what these other companies are doing. It's really gross. Because and yeah, and it feels like it's getting that way with gaming too. We're looking at both PlayStation. I found out, man, this is so gross. Getting the parts of the PlayStation 6 to the table today would be $960 in the current market, and you still have to build it, and you still have to put the operating system in, market it, package it all up, and ship it out.
For the what?
And so this is the PlayStation 6. To get just the material to the table is $960 today.
Have they even
That's
confirmed
from Kepler.
hardware?
That's Kepler L2. From as far as they can. We know it's not as powerful as the Xbox, but that's everything that we know, plus some estimates. But $960 today for buying the hardware, and then you still have to pay to put it together. You still have to pay the employees, the packaging, the marketing. It's going to be expensive. And then for the Xbox, yeah, it's like 1,500, uh, or 13, to get it to the table.
Jeez,
And
that's
so
disgusting.
you can, it is, and you can
Makes me
only.
how much is
Oh, go
PC
ahead.
parts? That makes me
Yeah,
wonder. Oh,
yeah. Um, and and then you're thinking that, well, like we priced out Q's PC as part of this conversation last time, and you paid what, like 1950, and today it would be 3,100 and some.
Yeah.
Same exact parts.
AI says
It,
it's worth around $2,200 to $2,400 on the used market.
yeah, as a used one. Wow.
If I were to
that's
sell it
crazy.
used.
But yeah, parts are just getting so expensive, and so we're looking at $1,000 consoles now, at a minimum. Um, and how much loss are they going to take per console? I don't know, but they can't take too much, otherwise it's not really going to pay for itself. And so yeah, people will probably wait. Again, I've had my own polls that are very small, but I've had my own polls say that yeah, we're just going to stick with current hardware. That's the biggest voting block. And
Or
yeah,
just go
why would you
retro even.
move? Yeah, why would you move or buy into the next thing if it's just too much?
When it's not even really an upgrade in all reality, it's a
Yeah.
downgrade.
Yeah,
Unless if
and
there's a
the extra
game
DRM on top of it,
that I
like
can't
GTA
absolutely
6.
lose. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean
I'm not
that's
proud
really
of it.
it.
I'm not proud of it, but
Like it's got to be a game like GTA 6 or like Elder Scrolls 6 or like unfortunately the next COD game. Like there's a few games that will continue to sell because they don't have any other competition that can match where they're at.
Yeah.
Or even like the next Fallout game. But like a lot of companies have lost trust with their player bases, and people too. Like you just can't afford what you can't afford, and so you just don't even go that way, right? And so people will stick with what they got, and as long as they keep making games for what they currently can play on, they'll keep playing on it. What do you guys think?
no, you hit the nail on the head. I know I won't upgrade the console. For one, I really doubt the new gen console will have better hardware than what this has. In fact, they're already if
I
they've
doubt that too.
already
Yeah.
yeah, if they've already got the hardware lined up, then it's already behind. But
Yeah. Pipeline hardware is pretty much decided like 3 to 4 years before launch. And we're supposed to be getting the dev kits, I think, at the end of this year.
really,
Yeah. So dev kits will probably be out for a couple of years, and then we'll actually have launch, which puts it right at 2028.
Yep.
And I've been thinking 2028, for a few years now because that's the pipeline that Xbox has had. We got to learn about that during the FTC lawsuit case when they wanted to buy Activision Blizz during 2023. They shared their own pipeline of hardware for the next gen Xbox, and generally PlayStation comes out the same year, and so yeah, I still think it's going to be 2028.
that's kind of what I was figuring. Maybe at the end of 2027, but not likely.
Yeah, I almost thought it was going to be 27. I definitely thought 26 was way too early.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of
Yeah,
people too think the
28.
generation hasn't even really started yet because there's been so many
Yeah.
problems.
Did they even announce Project Helix on their own accord, or was it leaked originally?
No, that's a real console. It's coming.
Yeah, but when it was first announced, was it announced because Xbox announced it, or was it leaked?
Yeah,
Well,
did
it
they
was
have to?
Xbox's um own information and slides during the lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't somebody under Microsoft leaking the slides. It was shown during the lawsuit itself. That's how we knew about it.
Okay.
I just think people have forgotten since. But yeah, I made a few videos on that. But yeah, people were like, "Oh, 2026. Oh, it's going to be 2027." And I think we're going to land still on 2028 because of Xbox's own slides. Because the problem is, like, you can't really go early because there's so many moving parts globally with all of your partners and vendors. And so everything is on a schedule, and everybody has to keep up with that schedule. And there's big consequences if you don't, because then you're screwing up everybody else, and you're screwing up everyone else's profit forecasts and everything. And yeah, you can't really do that. It's like breaking street date. You cannot do that. The consequences for doing so is not worth it, or even possible jail time and whatever. So I don't know what it would be on like a big company level, but fines, lawsuits, all of that kind of stuff. I imagine they can be pretty big. And of course, too, the company doesn't have to work with you again or anyone else that was involved in that process. So that's a lot of future revenue that could just go out the window. So yeah, when they're kind of set in stone, either everyone has to agree to move it, or everyone just sticks to the same schedule. Now, if you make everything in-house and everything comes from you, you can set whatever schedule you want because you're not working with anyone else. But, you know, they even work with other developers for all of the launch titles. They work with all of the third-party manufacturers for headsets and controllers or cables, all of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, all of the HDMI ports come from somewhere, the disk drives come from somewhere, the operating system's got to be put on. You got CPUs and RAM, and you got your motherboards, like designing the covering or the housing for the console, all of the accessories, all of the games that come with it, the changes to any online or gaming service, the marketing. Like, you're involving hundreds of companies, like globally. And so, yeah, you can't change that very quickly, if at all. Like PlayStation going digital only, it's screwing up stores in India because India was actually going to be putting in PlayStation stores in the country. And, well, with digital only, there's not really a point for doing that. So they're not sure if they're actually going to continue on with that idea. And apparently what we're learning is that the partners, the employees, the vendors, they all found out when the customers did.
Jeez.
So yeah, we
Really?
all found out at the same time. Yeah. There are companies that are like, we didn't know. We found out when the players did. And they're upset because it's gonna be changing stuff for some of them, because while digital is still like the primary form to buy stuff, there's still a level of different industries, including retailers, that rely on kind of the physical disc taking up the storefront a little bit and having something to physically buy and sell. Because people, let's be honest, people don't really like buying redemption cards. They'd rather just buy what they need through the digital store, or actually buy something tangible in their hand, you know?
Yeah, not
Oh,
to
yeah.
mention too, like if there's errors, like I mean, how many times have you heard on Reddit or whatever that there's someone who has issues with their code or whatever, and it's just like, fuck
Oh, yeah.
that. I'd rather
Yeah.
just have a disk in my hand that I can plug in and it works.
It was really bad during 360 and PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
That was really bad. Yeah. So, yeah, and I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But like, my plan is to buy a Helix right out of the gate. I'll pre-order it somewhere.
Is there a
And
certain price point where you will say no?
probably at $2,000. Because I see the Helix as a more of a PC pre-build which is what I'd kind of be willing to pay anyway. And I will agree that like if the Helix does not have the PC libraries, then I'm not buying it right away. There's no point. The only thing that really gets me excited about the Helix is the fact that we're merging libraries together finally. I think that's cool. Because I really want just one place to play all of my stuff. I've wanted that since middle school. So if that isn't there, I'm not buying it right out of the gate, maybe ever. And if it's basically $2,000 or more, I'm not buying it. I gotta wait because it's just too much. But for it to be a pretty beefy machine, for the costs that are out there, if I'm gonna spend $1,500 on a PC and have to have the setup and the desk, which I don't have the space for in my house anyway, that'll be kind of a hassle. But if I can just have one box in my living room that plays everything, that sounds nice. Because I already have the setup for the TV and the console and stuff. Right, I already have it all laid out. So if I can just swap out the box, ta-da! That sounds wonderful. But for a lot of people, even $1,500 is still going to be too much.
And you love the
1,500 is a lot.
1,500 is that.
What's that?
Much.
I assume you love the Xbox interface. So like how all your games are mapped out and your library, how it's all set up, the home screen.
I think it's okay. I don't think any of them are really that good. I think PlayStation 2 was still the best. And I liked the old 360 dashboard. I didn't like the new one. I think it's okay. Yeah. I think it's because that's just kind of how my mind works and thinks of stuff.
So you think it could be better then?
I think it could. I think everything could always be better. But like I like how simplified things were. But like looking at everything is now just tiles. Everyone kind of does that ever since Windows 8.
Yeah,
and that's just like what we've had. Yeah, I mean even PlayStation has like tiles, and stuff. And what I do like about Xbox is that I can just hit a button, and like I have an entire side menu with tabs, and that I think that's pretty easy to get to where I want to go. I like that feature. But generally speaking, I just think there's too much stuff on there. And then regardless, too, of really where you're at, even on Steam, like there's ads. They're promoting stuff on the front page or the home screen or whatever. And that's just, where we're going with gaming is that, yeah, just ads are going to become normal. Because the majority can't afford. And so they're going to have companies come in that are sponsors or whatever. And then they're going to have their ads while they pay for the stuff that we use. And that's how it is with TV and music now and YouTube anyway. So I think eventually we're just going that way.
Pretty unfortunate, but it does seem like that is the...
It makes sense, right?
Yep.
If I can pay for a subscription to have ads removed, like YouTube Premium or whatever that is, that's cool. But again, they can just raise the price whenever they want. So now we're back into this subscription model of just, it's just not, it's unending, right? This battle between what people want to pay and what they can afford versus what the companies need you or want you to pay. And, yeah, it's a constant battle, but I think it's one worth fighting for.
Yeah, the amount of money they want for just YouTube Music Premium or like YouTube Premium, it's ridiculous. It's just like, I remember when
I think
it was
it's like 12 a month or something, or 13 a month.
So I do it because I actually think it's a good deal.
And that's fine.
Because you get
we don't hate you, Q. We still love you.
You get the YouTube Premium and you get the YouTube Music subscription, and that's what I really like is the YouTube Music subscription. So it's like it's around the same price as Apple Music or Spotify, But you get two. You get both YouTube Premium and Music Premium all in one for like the $12 a month. And I really love the algorithm that YouTube Music has. It was originally Google Music when I first subscribed, and then YouTube. It changed to YouTube Music. But the algorithm is awesome. It's always shown me new songs that it thinks I would like, and
Pretty spot on.
yeah, I think that's a subscription that's worth it. But the prices have just been going up on it. I think it might even be up to
Yeah.
15 now.
Oh wow. That's what I like Game Pass for. Game Pass Ultimate is like I have my PC stuff, and if I want it, and I have my console stuff if I want it. I have Play Anywhere, cloud saves. It's all mixed into nice one big thing where I can just play wherever I want to play. I even stream some games on my phone at work. Don't tell the company, but but like on night shifts I'll play some of the smaller wimpier games like Final Fantasy 1 I'm on right now, and I'm playing that through my phone at a window in my lab, and playing that in between tests.
I need to look. I've never looked into this Play
It's pretty
Anywhere.
fun.
I don't even know
So
what it is.
you can buy, well, Play Anywhere is not a part of Game Pass officially. It's just another program that you can use when you actually buy, quote, buy a game, because you buy a license anyway. But yeah, when you buy a game and it's a part of Play Anywhere, you can play it anywhere, wherever the Xbox ecosystem is. And so the game travels with your account instead of being stuck to the hardware, which is really cool. It's just like if you play on any PC, you can put your Steam account on there, and all of your games just go with your account, right? And it's the same idea on Xbox, except they've opened up to handhelds, PCs, your Xbox console, even your Xbox One, which is last gen, and also your mobile phone, or your TV, or your MetaQuest, or whatever. There's a lot of different hardware that you can actually do. Now, the marketing problem that they had is that they focused too much on this and not enough on just Xbox being a console, which is what Asha Sharma is trying to do, is just go back to the roots of what Xbox is. And that's a console. Like, there's still enough people that really like the console model, regardless of where you are, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. But they're not disappearing those type of programs like Play Anywhere. And they're incentivizing other companies. I've heard that it's cheaper. I don't know how much, but I've just heard that it's cheaper from other channels, that Play Anywhere has a smaller fee attached to it. So they're going to these other companies that are publishing games and saying, well, you can publish your game and just keep it on the console platform, or just keep it on PC, or you can make it a part of Play Anywhere, which really for that one user, they're only going to sell one copy, right? Guaranteed, because the copy will go anywhere on whatever they want to play on. But what they're doing is Xbox is saying, if you put it on Play Anywhere, we will charge a smaller fee. And I've heard that it's anywhere from 10 to 15% less than what it would normally be. So the normal cost is 30%, and instead it would be more like 20 or 15% of all sales on Xbox. And so a lot of companies are going and making their game Play Anywhere, because they get to keep more of the revenue. And so it's easier to make profit that way. And with a lot of pulling back in the industry and players spending less and complaining about prices, making more profit right out of the gate sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
And so yeah, I can take quite a few of my games or Play Anywhere, and yeah, I can play them on my phone. Now, of course, like, the game has to be chintzy enough to actually run on my phone, and not everything is able to be played on mobile and stuff. There's still some limitations there, but generally speaking, there's more and more games that are Play Anywhere, and those games are attached to my account, and I can play them on whatever I want. It's really not too hard going on a road trip and just playing my games, which is cool. So if I have a non-Xbox handheld that has Windows, or the ROG Xbox Ally, or I bring my console with me, or I have my phone, or I bring a laptop, or even use the smart TV in my hotel room, If it can do that, I can still play my games. Isn't that crazy?
Pretty nuts. I wonder if Steam
So,
has anything like that.
I don't know. Well, they have Steam OS. I think that's the start. Otherwise, like Steam in and of itself, like needed Windows to run, but now there's Steam OS, so there's competition there. But it's actually a really cool program. So it's not like you benefit right out of the gate with it. But I probably have 100+ games that are play anywhere. And that's cool. And it's up to the publisher to decide if they want to be a part of that program or not. They don't have to, but a lot of them are switching over to that because it technically doesn't cost them any more money. But they do get to keep more of their profit.
Their discretion.
Yeah, it's up to the publisher, and it's the same with Game Pass. So like, publishers get to decide whether they also want to put it on Game Pass or not, day one or later. And so some games, they'll get their sales in their first 6 months, and then, oh, wow, look at that, it's on Game Pass now. And for every hour that's played, they get paid.
Oh.
And that is a contractual agreement between Xbox and the publisher. So it changes for everybody. But like if you have, let's say, Cyberpunk 2077, you're probably going to charge more than maybe like an indie developer would.
Yeah.
But also, if your game has been out for 6 years, or is also a free-to-play game, like World of Tanks, then maybe there's a little bit of a bonus package that's free for you because you're Game Pass, rather than just being a normal free-to-play player. But if you play it through Game Pass, the free-to-play models, they get paid by Xbox. And as far as we know, there were several million that canceled their Game Pass when the price went up to $30. We don't know how many exactly, but we know it was, quote, millions. So I'm guessing roughly 10% quit. And that's a good chunk of revenue. But there's still tens of millions that play on Game Pass because now it's $23, or it's $14.50 if it's on PC.
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty cheap. And again, if you do want to buy a game, at least for Ultimate, if you do want to buy a game, almost all of the games that are on Game Pass are on sale. So when they're going to leave the service, my Xbox will tell me, or my phone, hey, it's leaving the service, do you want to buy it? And it can be anywhere from 15% off to 30% off. And again, that's dictated by the publisher, not by Xbox.
Yeah, Game Pass has always been leagues above PlayStation's PlayStation Plus.
I can understand though, like why PlayStation doesn't really want to like go that way because again, they want to continue to use the normal console model and sell consoles and everything else. But again, that's really kind of your only option, or you wait for a year, usually, or sometimes longer than that, or sometimes too the games don't even come to the service. You just have to buy them anyway. But with digital only, maybe more people will actually just buy into the service because they're not going to really own them anyway, or have any control that way. And the return policy too just sucks on PlayStation. You download it,
Yeah.
that's it. There is no return policy.
Does Xbox even have a return policy? As far as I know, it's no different than PlayStation.
It's actually better than Steam.
So how does it work?
Yeah, shocker. It shocked me too. But how it works is that they don't have a defined line of how many hours you can play, but how they say it in their terms of whatever is that if you play a portion or a fraction of the game, then you can still request for a refund, and they will do a refund up to 90 days. So they really look at, so like if you've owned it forever, right, of course they're not going to give you your money back. But within 3 months, you can still ask for a refund and you might get it. but they will determine on a case-by-case basis, depending on the game,
This has to be
it,
known.
how much of a fraction it is. No, it's on their website. Their return policy is on the Xbox's website.
Well, yeah, but did they just add this?
This is new. It's not this year. I saw this last year in 2025, but yeah, it's a newer change to their policy. I just don't know how new it is. I don't know when they changed it. Yeah, I made a video about the return policy of Steam, and I thought, well, yeah, what's Xbox's and what's Nintendo's? Nintendo's is actually worse than PlayStation's.
Oh
Nintendo,
yeah,
they don't have a return policy
you could be
at all.
broken, and they're like, tough luck,
Yeah,
tough luck, champ.
yeah, Nintendo doesn't have one. Unless mandated by the law, they won't refund you.
Yeah.
PlayStation, at least if it's broken, they will refund you a game like Starfield or like Redfall or Concord. Like if the game really fails and bombs really bad or is broken at launch or whatever, they will allow you a refund regardless of how much you've played. But PlayStation's policy is it's basically you download it, that's it. For Steam, it's 2 hours within the first 14 days, or within 2 hours. Then you can refund it, no questions asked. For Xbox, let's say it's Crimson Desert or like Elden Ring, which can be hundreds of hours in a video game, right? That has more time that you can play and still refund the game, versus let's say an indie game like Silksong, which is a shorter one, or like Resident Evil Requiem. If you've played 3 hours in Resident Evil or 4 hours, they'll probably be like, no, you've played too much, and they're not going to give it to you. But yeah, they look at kind of like case-by-case basis, what the game is, maybe too, factoring in how many refunds you've requested. There's technically not a limit, but I could see if someone's constantly requesting
that makes
maybe
me
they don't
nervous.
give it to you.
If they're like, yeah, usually we're pretty good, but there's no set amount of hours, we'll just make our own decision. Whereas Steam, you're just like, okay, I don't know about this game. I'm gonna come back at 90 minutes before I get to 2 hours, and at 90 minutes, I'm gonna stop, think whether I want to keep it or return it. You're guaranteed that refund.
Yeah.
And you know what
No, I
it's
understand
set
what
by.
you're saying. Yeah. Some people have said though that or at least I've seen in comments that they've played more than 2 hours or 3 hours, and they get their refund.
On
So
Xbox, that's pretty cool.
On Xbox, that is nice.
Yeah, I did not know that they had a return policy. Last I checked,
Like that.
it was kind of on par with PlayStation's. It had to be broken, or you didn't open it, so you couldn't download it. It's just some bull.
Yeah, I thought it was basically as bad as PlayStation's, because consoles always had like a really bad return policy. But if they're going to be branching out now, of kind of regardless of hardware, I think they realized they had to like tweak that. Because that kind of sucks. So I think, but yeah, I think too. It's also like it could change at any time. Let's see. Let me read this real quick. Oh, okay. Here we go. So let me just read this verbatim. This is on support.xbox.com. Refunds for digital games are typically issued for requests made within 14 days of the game's purchase date. If you haven't accumulated a significant amount of playtime, you can make refund requests for game purchases within a 90-day period. However, not all requests will be accepted. Most in-game consumables and virtual currency are not refundable once purchased or issued, like skins or a battle pass or something. There are often limits on the number and type of game refunds allowed and the monetary compensation that we can provide for each purchaser in a given year. If you don't have access to the account and made the purchase, you'll need to contact your financial institution for a refund. We provide digital game product refunds as part of the consistent and reliable buying experiences. However, if it appears game refunds are being abused, we reserve the right to stop offering refunds except where legally required. All refund request decisions are final. If the refund request is denied, you can appeal the decision by replying to the email message that you received about the decision. You cannot resubmit the same refund request on this page.
I want to know what their definition of abused is.
Yeah, we don't know.
See, that makes me nervous. Like
But
I just
I
don't
would
think
kind of
you
think
can
it's
beat
like
Steam.
insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Steam just no questions asked as many times. You can turn around and buy that game again and then get another refund.
Because, yeah, they
They
do
don't
say here
care.
refunds for digital games are typically issued for requests made within 14 days of the game's purchase date, if you haven't accumulated a significant amount of playtime. So they don't necessarily say 2 hours, but they do say within that 14-day window. You can refund request game purchases within a 90-day period, but it's harder to get that approved. But it sounds like within 14 days is a lot more accepted. But yeah, they do say if they think you're abusing it, they may not actually give it to you. And yeah,
then
you're
they
right.
might
Steam
quit.
doesn't care.
Yeah, Steam. No, you can keep getting a refund, buy that bitch back again, refund it,
Yeah.
just keep it going. They don't care.
But like if I didn't have a lot of playtime on a particular game and it's been 10 weeks, that's kind of nice. I might get it. Again, I don't know what percentage, but I do think it's nice there's a longer period of time there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way better than PlayStation's. That's for sure. And
Yeah, I can't argue.
way better than Nintendo's.
And Nintendo's just like, tough luck, kiddo.
Yeah,
Better
they
luck
have to be
next time.
required by law to
You
give
should have
it to
been
you.
better with your money.
You should have liked it.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's all.
PlayStation is you shouldn't have used it, and then yeah, Nintendo is like you just should have liked it, because they don't give one at all. It's really kind of insane. There's also a return policy too for physical items that they have on their website for Xbox. But I won't read that one. But yeah, if you guys are curious, those listening, you can go to support.xbox.com and read up on that stuff. Anything else we wanted to talk about? Steam Machine is 1,050. I think that's old news now. Luckily, they're just batching it, which is good. They'll continue to make profit that way regardless. They won't over make any.
Funny enough, on the Steam store, there's a section for most popular sales as of recent, and they have the Steam Machine listed as number one.
Oh yeah, I bet the requests have been pretty high. Because that would be some of scalpers too. Some scalpers are putting up their thing already that they're going to get it, and so the scalpers are making it like $3,000.
They kind of made it impossible to scalp it though. Like they only limit one per address.
Yeah,
So
well, still you could buy
if you're
one.
if you're living
and
with your
then
brother
scalp
and he
it.
wants a Steam Machine, and then you got yours first, it's kind of tough luck for him.
Yeah, they're definitely, and I don't think you can use a PO box either.
Nope,
It has to be like a street address.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which
so I'm glad they're
kind
doing
of
that.
it's effort because what
Yeah.
happened with the Xbox and PlayStation when it released was bullshit.
Oh, dude. Yeah, and it's wild too because people were willing to pay up to $1,400 for a PlayStation 5, and people were willing to pay $1,100 for a Series X.
I think I waited a year and a half, maybe closer to 2 years before I ever got one.
Yeah, for me and Lion Chaser, it was a couple of years, and we bought them used from somebody else that were selling theirs.
Which one?
We still paid around $500. Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
lucky
Lion
and
and
I
I
got it on
bought our pre-owned
Black
ones.
Friday on 2023 when they were $350 at Walmart. Me and my nephew got the last two that Walmart had.
Wow.
$350 was too good of a deal to pass up because I wasn't even planning
Yeah.
on, because I was rocking my Xbox One X, the Taco Bell edition one, and it was working perfectly fine. But like, I can't say no to a $350 console for basically half off almost.
And yeah, that was a good call because it's insane prices
Yeah,
now.
I
You
could
know,
literally sell
it's
it now and
eight
make my
hundred
money.
bucks. Yeah, you could double your money,
800.
more than double.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, in August, the Series X is going to be $800, and the Series S is going to be 500, and the Galaxy Edition, which is the 2 terabyte model, is going to be discontinued.
Yep, I've seen that. It's just, I mean, it's not their fault, but it is
At least, well, kind of
it's really
directly it is. I
concerning.
mean, they're investing in AI. They're one of the
Oh
biggest
yeah,
players in AI right now. So it kind of is their fault. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like that side of the business, the department of Xbox, it's not necessarily their fault. Things
yeah.
cost what they cost. And it's the same for PlayStation too. PlayStation, they've said that they bought a bunch of extra like RAM and SSDs and stuff, which is good, but still they're raising their prices too, right along Xbox basically.
They
And
are. They're raising them again.
it's well, they're raising um, PlayStation Plus again sometime later this year. So woohoo! We'll see what
Yes.
that price increase is. They announced that last week, and then I'm expecting that Sony will raise PlayStation 5s again before the year is over.
Kind of on par.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
could see it.
because they're gonna go through their RAM, their RAM storage that they already bought. Because they said, oh yeah, we bought extra, and everyone thought that, okay, you'll keep your price basically the same then. Well, they made their price 650 just like Xbox. It was just at a later date. So it's like, well, what the frick? Like you guys said you had the parts, like so anyway, it just slowed it down. It didn't really stop them from raising the price. So if the Series X is $900 now to be profitable, I think yeah, we're looking at probably $700-800 as well for a PlayStation 5 at the end of this year.
Oh,
And I hope, oh my word, I hope that they don't follow what Nintendo is doing, where they're like, oh yeah, Switch 1 is old hardware, but we're going to raise the price anyway. F you guys. I mean, I really hope they don't do that.
did they do that with the Switch One?
They did.
Yep.
They raised the price.
They're
I've
Yeah.
still
seen all the
selling it.
people selling them.
Yeah. Not enough people were buying the Switch 2 because it was $450. And so then they raised all of the versions of the Switch 1 to get people to buy the Switch 2 because the price was close enough, right? And so, but again, that didn't work either. So then they raised the price of the Switch 2 anyway to now $500. That's starting on September 1st.
I bet you still can't even watch Netflix on it.
Probably not.
Dude,
Yeah.
Nintendo's, they're just a bunch of snobs.
It's bad, dude. Like my wife and I, we actually thought of getting one. We've kind of been skipping every other generation because you can go through the store and buy last gen games digitally, right?
Mhm.
And have access to them and stuff. Um, so like we bought a Wii U and bought Wii and Wii U games, and we were going to do that with the Switch 2 to buy Switch and Switch 2 games. But God, we saw that price. We were like, what the fuck? And it was just, it's like, man, $450 for just a few games? Because we're not going to like buy anything else. We're just going to buy a few of the first parties for us and the kids, and that's going to be that. But like $450, and then I started reading into like Nintendo Switch Online and Expansion Pass with the backwards
Yeah.
compatibility and all this stuff. I was like, oh my word, like this is getting worse. And then the bricking, like someone actually had their console bricked for Twinkie links, end quote, and they bricked their freaking console over that. So they're like, I can't access the internet anymore. I basically just now have a dead console, which is horrible. So yeah, and they can be. It's their hardware, but they're really stringent on what users can do. And anyone is worried about doing anything to the Switch 2, Even repair was up in the air. It's like, are they going to be linked with that particular hardware console, right? And then if you swap out other parts, it's like not recognized, and then you just get bricked.
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Luckily, is like you can still get your stuff repaired, which is good. But it is getting pretty bad. Everything else can kind of like brick your console, and so yeah, my wife and I were like, nope, I think we're just done with Nintendo. And so I was even talking with my wife about that yesterday or last week, and I was like, do you still want to get a Switch 2? She's like, no, not really. She's like, I don't like Nintendo anymore. I was like, okay, then we're not going to buy it. I was like, we can wait and see what the next console is. She's like, it's probably still going to be and I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with the direction that they're going. They just lost what Nintendo was, and it's so corporate now. Like, we don't want it. And they've already cut back their production in the United States by like a couple million consoles, and they're planning to ramp that back up at the end of this year. But again, if they don't see the sales numbers, they're not going to ramp up production because it's going to be wasting money, right? They're going to oversaturate the market and when nobody's buying. Now, people are still buying consoles, but we're selling about 1 million a month now. And I think when the next gen consoles come out, PlayStation 6 and Helix and the 60 series graphics card and all that, I think people are going to put their money more likely into those things instead of Nintendo. And I think the Switch 2 is done after that. They'll still have some sales, but I think it'll be drastically different. So they got to sell as much as they can now, because I think by 2028, I don't think they're really going to sell anything.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because, yeah, Nintendo used to put out their console at the same time as PlayStation and Xbox. Every time they did that, their console got killed on sales. That's actually what happened with the GameCube. And so now what they've been doing is putting it out in between their console generations, and they have like 2-3 years to get sales. And then, yeah, you can see it pretty much every single time except for the Switch 2 or the Switch 1, because a lot of people got stimulus money, and that's what they went out and bought. You can see it right on the graph. It just goes, whoop, just almost goes straight up for like a couple of years, and then it kind of peters back out again after people spent their money. But yeah, they're not going to have that saving grace this time. And so I think even for the Switch 2 to get to 50 million total console sales through their entire life cycle of the Switch 2, I think is going to be tough. Right now, they're at about 20 million.
Oh man.
And that's 1 year in. And it's been really good, right? It's the best sales they've ever had, I think, except for like the Wii. The Wii sold a lot.
And the DS.
Oh yeah, the DS. But yeah, that's something too, is like they've killed that now, and they've merged it all into one thing. I think that's why partly too the Switch 1 also sold so much, is because you look at the mobile sales with like the 3DS and stuff, and also the console sales, and you put them together and it equals about 150 million. And that's actually what they had for the Switch 1. So I think they just kind of traded hardware, simplified it a little bit, streamlined it, made it both. And that's what the Switch 1 is. And the Switch 2, it's like, hey, it's better, but it also relies very heavily on an upscaler. And then you don't own your games. That's great. Except for a few of them. But
I've always been doing that, pulling controversial crap like this. You know how the
yeah.
PlayStation come about?
No, I don't actually.
So
So they said we want to
originally,
make money.
nope. No, they were not looking into getting into the console game. Nintendo hired them third party to design them a console, and they did. And it was almost finished, and Nintendo backed out like last minute. And then Sony
Oh my
was
word! Why would you do
CEOs
that?
were like, "You motherfuckers." And so
Because
they're like,
they're
you know
expecting to
what?
make money.
Well, Nintendo wasn't worried about it because they're like, yeah, you guys almost have
We're
a console, but
Nintendo.
that's only, well, they're like, that's only one piece of the puzzle. You guys
So
don't
that's
have
why
game
they built.
developers.
That's why they built it off of Linux then.
Hmm.
Because they just needed an operating system.
And it was so easy to work with that developers were like, wow, this is
Oh yeah,
awesome.
world's difference. It's
No,
really cool listening to old people talk about the PlayStation 1 and how amazing it was.
it was, and the PS2 was even better.
Yeah, I know. PlayStation 2 and 360, they're like the most loved consoles that people remember playing on. Maybe not necessarily in sales, but they're like cemented in people's minds.
Sony was so smart back then. They actually gave the consumer markets the best bang for their buck. Back when the
Yeah.
PS2 come out, like DVD players were expensive.
Yes.
They're like
Yes, they
100,
were.
$150 or more. So the
It was the same
PS2
thing with the
that retailed
PlayStation
at
3 when they had Blu-rays.
yeah, I don't think that saved the console. It wasn't a bad console, but the 360 just blew it out of the water, which was really weird because the
Well, the
360 you've
360
always
came
had to
out
pay.
first.
Did it always? Was it always pay to play online?
2000. I want to say 2006. Xbox Live has been around for a long time. Game Pass Core is just the new name for it now. But it's basically the same
Xbox
service.
Live.
But
They had gold,
Xbox Live has been
silver.
around forever, yeah. But yeah, they were the first ones to do that for $50 a year. And then they made it to $60 a year. And then they didn't change the price for like 12 years.
I
Like
mean,
they really held on to that price tag for a long time.
well, inflation wasn't crazy for 12 years too. That kind of helps. And then in the past 5, it's
Yeah,
just
when you have a real economy. Frick, man. Yeah, PlayStation held off, I think, as long as they could, but I think they brought PlayStation Plus during PlayStation 4 and started making people pay for online. But that was to, like, help with the hacking and admin problem. Because I remember my friends talking about that, is that they wanted a 360 instead of a PlayStation 3. Because PlayStation 3 could be hacked so easy in the multiplayer games.
oh
And
yeah,
so
that was a big problem.
So like a lot of people went with the 360 because it's like there was a level of hidden security and protection there. And they were really trying to stop that from happening in their lobbies of any game. It wasn't specific to a publisher, it was just any game on 360 had that protection, but that also cost money, and so that's what the money was supposed to be for.
Oh, I knew it was better. Like the multiplayer gaming, like Xbox kind of set the standard with the 360.
Yeah. Halo and the titles too. Halo was a huge one.
And I think you could send like
COD was big,
voicemails to people. You could do like there was like an
Mm-hmm.
email like system. It was pretty cool.
I
It was
would
a
get
really
some after a match on COD. I would get those voicemails sometimes. Get a little voicemail, turn it
good
on,
and
be like,
bad.
"Man, you saw a butch, blah blah," you know. It'd be somebody upset after killing them on the lobby.
Oh man, it was
But
great.
you know, that's when we lived in America back then. Right now, we live in a
Cancel culture.
socialist America, and it's better, isn't it, folks?
Yeah,
Oh.
so
Don't you
much
feel
better.
like it's better? Yeah, I like it. I get to say what I want, but jail is right around the corner. Especially the UK. Oh my gosh, they actually have that as real law over there.
Yeah,
Even
no,
if you
people
say
were
something
getting.
online.
Yep, they'd show up to your house. The police would and
Yeah, you
take you in cuffs.
you called someone a on Twitch, and so yeah, we're gonna put you in jail. I'll be like, are you serious? Yeah, that's insane. I feel sorry for anybody that lives in the UK. Your guys' problems are so bad. I have a couple of buddies over there that are like, man, we just wish we could move to America. I was like, well, wait for a liberal president, and then maybe you can, because they might open the borders again. Just go for it.
Just come on in,
I'd rather
buddy.
have them here. Yeah, I'd rather have them here that actually appreciate and want to live in America versus somebody just trying to get away from some unsung war that never hits the news over in Venezuela or whatever over drug wars. Anyway, was there anything else you guys would like to chat about? You guys got to go to bed. It's about 10:30.
Yeah, I got.
Maybe I can actually edit this by tonight. Oh my word, that'd be so amazing. Yeah, I feel bad. So thanks for taking some extra time, guys, for answering some of the past podcast questions. Because God, I was struggling, dude, so bad. Again, 10 hours so far, and I'm only like 40, 50 minutes in, and I got because what I did, Q. I don't know if you know. So I did our 2-hour podcast, and then I talked to Shepard, and I really didn't like having just us. And so I like having all three of us. And so Shepard and I did one, which was another 2 hours, roughly. Or maybe they were both kind of like 2.5. Anyway, it worked out to almost like 5 hours total of podcast material. And so what I'm trying to do, which I'm done now because I've burned so much time, but I'm trying to splice them together. So I'm having the question, and I'm listening to you talk. And then we kind of move to something else, and then it's like, okay, so then I'll switch to Shepard's, and I'll listen to what we're saying, and then I'll try to like cut and splice and put it all in there so that it sounds like we're both there, like we're all there, right? And oh my gosh, that has just taken so freaking long. To anybody that edits like that, I applaud you so much. You're a superhero. Because oh my word, it's awful. Because I gotta listen to what you said, listen to what he said. And there's off topics. Yeah, there's off topics in there too. And so you're cutting and splicing and moving and shifting this over here and make a mistake, and then you got to undo it a little bit and retry. And it's just, yeah, it's forever. So this will be wonderful. I can just edit it, and that'll be that. And there won't be too much to edit out. Basically, about an hour 30 is where we were kind of done with everything. And so probably from then out, I'm probably just going to cut for the most part. But anyway, yeah, thanks both for being here. So yeah, I'll end the podcast real quick. So thanks for tuning in, guys. You can always follow us here for these podcasts. We don't have a specific time when, but we just do these when we can, when there's kind of something to chat about. And yeah, I'll always work on having Shepard and Q here. And two, you can follow us at Gaming Garbage 22. There's various content that I do. Trying to keep up with the news, do reviews. I got some reviews coming out. And you can also follow us over at Twitch if you'd like it. Don't tread on the. And with that, if you want to leave some questions or actually listen and leave comments or ask questions during the podcast itself, you guys are welcome to do that when we actually do that on Twitch. So you can follow me there at Don't Tread on the. So yeah, I actually encourage that. We'll get to that if we can. So anyway, and whatever we don't get to, we'll bring questions that you guys want us to answer. Either leave them down in comments on YouTube or on Twitch. We'll get to that in the next podcast. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.